December 4th, 2023 Safety Committee meeting. It is 4:35 p.m. We're going to go ahead and get started. In attendance, going around the table, is Mayor Southard, Councilperson-elect Grant, Councilperson Camera, Councilperson Martin, Chief Delp, and myself, Councilperson McNamara. Fairly light agenda here today. I just wanted to get, touch base, pick some brains about some things. We can go slightly out of order on the agenda topics here, if nobody minds. Starting off with something nice and easy, the sign situation around the schools. I know last time we spoke in a council meeting, some of that was in progress. Where do we stand on the signage updating for the road and the signs themselves? Is there any change on that? No. Beautiful. So there's a
no left turn.
Oh yeah, we did that.
Okay, wonderful.
Or no right turn.
Left turn only.
Yeah, however you want to say it.
Yes.
Coming out of Manova, France.
Yes,
Yeah.
at the thing, and it says during school hours, so we're now looking at maybe changing that to specific hours, because school doesn't start till 9 to 5, and like, what does school hours mean?
So they're still doing it.
So if you're there at 8:45 dropping off your child, you can still turn right.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know. I think it's just people being obstinate, but we're gonna go up there. We're gonna try to have officers there when we're available to direct them to turn left, and just get used to it. Once the parents and the people dropping off are used to it, it'll pretty much police itself. I think the vast majority of parents, I mean, we go through it every year. We went through it every year at Hawthorne. It was the learning curve, because new parents come in, they don't know which way to go. By the second, third week, everything just kind of runs itself. So I would imagine that within a short period of time, once they understand they can't turn right, that sign will be just fine. However, I could see someone making that argument, because we live with people who like to split hairs.
We certainly do. I understand we were also in discussion with, and correct me if I'm wrong, with Westerville City Schools about additional, guiding, signage. Is that still in the works, or have I?
Westerville City Schools asked us to add.
Okay.
So they weren't really a part of it. They want us to add some school zone. I've reached out to Paul Peterson, which is who did our street painting. And then I've talked to Tammy a little bit on getting one of those flashing things. They are running about $10,000 to get one of the flashing crosswalk signs. So we are waiting
Now,
for.
what our speed things cost then, huh?
Yeah, they're expensive.
Yeah.
They had some that were a little less expensive, but right now at this point, I think it's gonna be on us. Yes, we can still ask Westerville if they want to contribute anything. The problem that we're having is, and Chief, you might even be able to chime in on this, because of the distance between, there's something to do with, it's very difficult to mark this as a school zone, because technically.
The way it was explained to me was that is a residential street, not a school street.
Correct.
If you go to school zones, it's because there's a school and a roadway. This is actually schools behind houses.
Yeah.
So there is no school zone on that section of Farview.
So that's why we haven't completely gone any further yet, and we might just be able to do a crosswalk, because other than that, that might be the only thing we can do. Painting on the street, that's the holdup with that. We might not be able to do it at all.
That actually makes a lot of sense. I didn't think about that
I
before.
didn't
The
either.
school zone has to be at the roadside.
I didn't either. And
We
Tammy's the one that
didn't know,
told
we
us.
didn't know, I didn't know either, 'cause we're like, where's the school zone signs? Let's get the 20 mile per hour, you know.
So I guess that might be the whole we were
Then I was
waiting
told
on.
we
Yes,
can't.
that wasn't gonna happen.
That makes sense.
Okay.
No, we're still,
So I was like,
Yeah. So, but those signs that you're talking about, is that like what they have in Uptown Westerville, where the pedestrians hit the button and it?
we're looking at multiple different ones.
Okay.
The ones that we were looking at.
probably something similar.
Yes.
And that's
We
around
may even
10?
be able to make a school crossing, that's what we're researching to figure out.
Yes.
Beautiful.
because that crossing goes to the school.
Right,
But it
So what do
also
you mean?
goes to the sidewalk.
Right.
So it's like, is it a crossing or is it a school crossing? So.
okay,
I think if you have that flashy yellow, the little yellow strobe lights
Yeah,
that
yeah.
really get people's attention, the twinkly ones, that can be controlled by the crossing guards there.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about, because I think uptown, they have those in the middle near, not First Watch, but,
It's right, the Emerson or whatever the school is right there on Westerville
yeah,
Road,
what's
right?
what's that restaurant right there? North Star, North?
North Star.
Oh, you're talking about
North
by,
Star.
Right, isn't that
Or
where they
like
have,
Canby.
yeah,
Yeah.
isn't that where they have
North Star
the,
Cafe.
you push a button, the lights start flashing, little pedestrian sign, that's what we're talking about, right? Yeah, okay.
That's not a school one, but.
Are we just talking about at Minerva Francis, or are we also looking at that
We're going towards the
crosswalk
middle school, yeah.
at the middle school too, yeah?
Yeah.
And it's 10,000 each,
Yeah.
no bulk discount or?
Oh darn, we didn't get bulk discounts on the
The
speed.
middle school ones at least, we've got the 20 mile per hour.
Right, you got the flashing light, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right there. And there's an employee crossing guard that Westerville's providing for that location.
Okay.
So, we'll see.
Do they provide them in the afternoon too? I've only ever seen them in the morning.
Yes.
Okay.
So I suppose the big takeaway question here, the big head scratcher to ponder is what we have going on right now, do we deem it to be sufficiently safe? Because it sounds like we've got a lot going properly, and we've got, hopefully some more signage and whatnot coming down the road, so.
My
not
only
heard any
concern
complaints.
that I've had, because I do live over there, I come in Farview, is there's been an occasion or two where I'm in that line, I'm looking to see if I can go around that line to get home, and all of a sudden a school bus will whiz past me. That's been my only concern.
Passes you?
Yeah.
School bus passes you?
In the middle lane?
Which end?
Between Farview and Green Line, where the entrance of Minerva France is. So I've been after the stop sign at MLR and Farview, but before Green
Cars are
Line.
waiting to turn left into the school.
Cars are waiting to turn left. I'm kind of looking around to make sure no one's coming out of Green Line or something, and all of a sudden the bus whizzed past me. Like, not even like stopped and then looked and go, they just went.
They just drive down through there.
Yeah,
I've never seen that.
yeah.
How many times has that happened?
It's only happened to me once, but it's enough that,
Do you know the bus number?
No,
Okay.
it's not getting
Well,
bus
it only
numbers.
happened once, it's not an
Yeah,
ongoing issue.
it's not an ongoing issue, but it
Okay.
has happened.
I guess my concern is, in the meantime, until we get these last issues addressed, have there been any, I've not heard any, I try to follow I try to follow the social media for Westerville schools and, Minerva Park parents and whatnot, and I've not heard any complaints. I don't remember seeing any complaints about the, pick up and drop off as things are. So I just wanna make sure that, until these last issues are hammered out, that everything is appropriately implemented, which it sounds like.
Yeah.
I think the left turn on lane is going to alleviate a lot of the issue up at the entrance. Because it is the cars coming the other way that are backing up the cars on. Yeah, so,
Yeah,
and then once they go around to the other side and come out of the line, or go through South Village, however they want to get out of the village, turning left there and going out, or turning right and waiting in line, it still doesn't, it reduces that congestion right there at the entrance. So I think it's a step in the right direction. I think we'll have to just take a wait and see approach, and give it a few weeks and see how it works.
Beautiful.
The other signs that we had talked about was, no parking from here to corner, is that, Jason? you know?
I'm
No,
sorry.
on the courts, no parking from here to corner.
Yeah, what about it? Has it happened?
No, I'm saying, is that a question that we wanted to ask Chief, exactly where they need to go? We had talked about, and I don't know that it was in a safety meeting, don't know that you've heard anything about this,
I think it
so.
was in
It
council.
was in a council meeting, yeah.
So in the courts, I think we were thinking we were gonna do a no parking from here to corner. Is there a certain distance we need to go back? Is there a certain thing you wanna look at it before we start throwing signs in somewhere? Is there somebody we should be reaching out to? Because we do have those signs, we just haven't done anything with them.
So you can already, I think it's 15 feet before the stop sign.
Okay.
You can't park there. The issue that was brought up was the two courts on Kerwood, where vehicles were parking at the entrance of the court.
Right.
One 15 feet away from the stop sign, and the other car parking right across the street from it,
Right.
effectively just blocking the road. Because they're parking on both sides there. So we thought, okay, if we can create a buffer like we did at some of the intersections in MI, where no parking here to corner, because, for example, on Black Sycamore and Quiet Brook Vale, we had to put a sign there, no parking, and it's way down there, because cars were stopping at the stop sign waiting to turn, and then a car would pull in and couldn't go anywhere because there's car parked there. So then they're sitting there, and they're sitting there, and the cars are backing up here. So we needed to create that buffer so they could get around and allow traffic to flow. I don't know if there's that much traffic on the courts, but as good neighbors, you should just not block the court. So we now have to put up a sign that says don't park
Yeah.
between here and there. And I'm thinking something like 2 to 3 car lengths in.
Okay.
Would this be something
So-
worth joining in with streets on?
I know she has mentioned it as well. The one that came to me was the one off the court off of Green Line Way. It's the little small cul-de-sac there. That's where someone, and I can't think of, what's it called? Cotton Quail. That's the one that someone said to me, hey, it's getting a little ridiculous how they park right there, right at the neck of that. So,
And we can put one there.
I guess this all leads into the next topic that.
because there's none in that whole court. There's no parking signs anywhere in there.
None
so-
of the courts are that way.
Right.
So this all kind of leads into the next topic, talking about parking conformity. I know that was something that JP had talked about wanting to discuss at previous council meetings, and it sounds like there is an appetite for it among, or there may be an appetite for it among the general community. The last time we spoke, it was about this topic, it was like people parking in, the wrong area or the wrong.
Yeah, we have a lot of, well, back before we had the new section, there was only one side of the street that you could park on. When MI came along, for some reason it's on the opposite side of the street. That makes no sense. The whole neighborhood should be conformed, so that way there's no confusion. And I've seen an influx, especially this year, of people parking in the old section, usually contractors parking on the wrong side of the street. And they're not even just parking on they're literally blocking people. And Officer Faust has done a good job of, I've seen him like getting out of the vehicle and telling them, you cannot park here. You gotta turn the car around. So I continue that kind of support. It's awesome. So people don't block traffic. Cause it is getting to be, as we progress years and years, it's more and more people, things start to get out of hand.
I have a question for clarification. What do you mean parking on the no parking is on the wrong side?
This is what I wanted to
Right.
hear from
Yeah.
you, because
Explain what you mean.
So do you know where you're allowed to park in the new section?
Yes.
Where?
Where there's no parking.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
You're wrong. You're allowed to only park on one side of the street, right?
Right.
And that's what side? The
The
right
sign- Where the
side.
sign says,
But that's the right side of the street.
okay.
On this section, you can only park on this side.
So I
I
thought,
mean, on
It's
the
back
right
think-
side?
On the
I
right
think-
side.
are
Right.
we speaking, this is gonna
The
sound.
old section is on the
And
right.
I'm
Yeah,
to my
it's
right,
on
to
the-
my left.
I know, this is getting confusing.
So listen,
This is what I'm
if
talking
I'm going down
exactly.
Jordan Road, which side of the road am I allowed to park on?
If you're going down
The one
Jordan
on the
Road,
side.
you're only allowed to park on the right side of the street.
If I'm going down Farview, which side am I allowed to park on?
Right side of the road.
If I'm going down Woodley, which side of the road am I allowed to park on?
right side.
So I'm confused.
So if you're on.
Which
the-
one
and
is
then
wrong?
Depends which
The
direction you're
whole
going, it's the
MI
right side.
If you're going down Green Line Way,
See, that's what I was getting confused.
right, if you're going down Green Line Way, what side is the parking allowed on?
Which direction?
I know. Yeah,
Which
which
Going this
direction?
direction, it's not the right side of the street,
Left
it's the
side,
left
that's fine.
side.
But if I'm coming from Farview, which side is it on?
Okay, if you're coming up Minerva Lake Road, you can park on the left side. If you're going the same direction, you cannot park on the left side, you can only park on the right side. That's where it's starting to get confusing.
They didn't,
But right is
they
a wrong
didn't
turn.
switch it when they, Farview
You have
didn't
north and you have
switch.
south, right?
I really think that was just a judgment call on Green Line because it connects between two different roads.
Yeah.
Because if you're on Farview, and
Okay.
you're parking on.
I've
Let me
also
change it like
heard-
this, let me make it more sense. On the south side, how about that? South and,
You're giving a lot of people way too much credit, because I don't know the difference between north, south, east, or west, unless when I have a
north,
sign in my
south,
thing, I
east,
follow what the
west.
signs say.
maybe we'll go with Eric and have him.
So
Kinda help
my
us. What's your
understanding
proposal?
was that it
We
had-
changed the
To
new
make
section.
Green Line switch to the other side of the
We
road.
conform to the old section, the new section.
so my understanding
makes
is it
sense
has
no
to
matter
do with
where
the
you're
fire
at.
hydrants. You can't park on the side of the street that has the fire hydrants.
Oh, that's why they did that?
Yeah.
Well, that's a legit reason.
Because everywhere I'm thinking about that you're saying it's the opposite, the fire hydrants are on the other side.
So it has to be like that, you can't, it'll
Because you
never
can't,
be.
you're not allowed to park in front of a fire
You
hydrant.
can't, no.
So,
Like, you can, but.
well, yeah, I mean,
When they bust your windows
All right.
through to get to it.
Let's just
I
go
don't know
ahead,
that it's
86 the
the whole
conformity because of
way,
fire
but
hydrants.
I know several of the streets.
Yeah,
Just
some
the
of them
fire
are not
hydrant.
making, but some of them are not making sense over there at all
Right.
compared to the old section.
So like Black Sycamore, definitely it's fire hydrants, because I know there's one right here in the corner. What about your street? Do you know? They're across the street, aren't they, the fire hydrants?
Yes.
I think they are
Yes.
too, yeah.
They're on the non-parking side.
But I think that's why some people get confused is, and
I
whether.
mean,
Just.
I get
I've also
it,
seen
but
people
there's,
park in front of a no parking sign,
Yeah.
so it's like.
The biggest issue I see with people that are parking on the wrong side of the road, I would agree with, it is contractors. Cliff actually went and, I was coming down through there and I stopped and Cliff was sitting there and I said, they're blocking the road up there, and he goes, I'm on it, so, I mean, he
Yeah.
went straight down there,
Yeah.
you couldn't get through there at all.
It started fluctuating, kind of getting high, and then all of a sudden it just started dropping immediately, like, but I did notice that, and so.
And then Uber drivers do it, they pull right up in front of the
Yeah, I've
house.
seen that.
And they just get out of the car
Pull it out,
halfway in the
yep.
middle of the road, and
Yep.
you're not gonna stop that, cause by the time the police get there,
Yeah,
they're gonna be
I know.
gone.
Yeah, and even if we are there, we pretty much just give them a warning.
Exactly.
Right.
They're there so briefly, and sometimes we allow workers to park on the wrong side of the road if they put a cone out, if they're, you know.
Unloading something very heavy, I get,
Correct.
that's one
So
thing.
like, yeah, the like appliance delivery people.
Yeah.
Right.
Those things, so something's gonna be short-lived.
Mm-hmm.
So we kinda look at it as, are they
is
parking
kind of
there
the same.
or are they stopped?
Every time there's.
This is
fire
more
hydrant,
of
So,
the roofing companies
I
with their
see.
contracting trucks that are not
Yeah.
dump trailer trucks, they're
Yeah.
just there.
And we try
Was
to
that fire
control it
hydrant?
as much as we
Yeah.
can.
Right.
And it's very frustrating when you come down through there and then you look and it's like there's a car parked across the road and they're
Yeah.
parked there and now it's completely blocked. You go up and you're like, hey, you can't, you're gonna have to move these vehicles.
It wouldn't be so bad if it was staggering, you know, but
That's what I'm saying, if you can get through, we
Just
kinda
one.
we monitor it and just kinda let them, because we know they're only gonna be there for a few hours, doing whatever they're gonna be
Right.
doing, and then out. When they had the driveway sale of 2021,
oh yeah.
I don't know what happened, like who came through and like just gave everybody a deal on
Yeah.
driveways, but it was like, that was, oh God, so we're driving around and it's just, everybody's getting their driveway like,
Refinished.
replaced.
yeah.
And they have multiple.
Just refinished, just replaced, like they're digging it up and putting in new. And of course you can't, I mean, park across the street, take that Bobcat and dump, you know,
Cement crank.
yeah, you know, it's like, okay.
Just crank it up.
So we just kinda
straight.
had to like work with it, and it seemed like there was like 3-4 dozen driveways that were getting done that year.
Wildwood's had quite a bit going on, and with that plus the new build right there, but that's starting to come to an end too. So,
Be curious, I'm looking at the street view, and every time I see a fire hydrant, I see a do not park on this side of the street.
So
sign.
okay, I did not realize that, I
I
apologize.
didn't realize there's so.
I just wanted clarification on that.
Right,
I think
well, that explains a
I
lot.
think that was done probably because of some new
Code,
new code through there. Because if you go down Wildwood, I think you can park on the side of the, same side of the street as the fire hydrants over, or not Wildwood, Maplewood. I think the fire hydrants are on the south side and over there.
one area I keep seeing somewhat of an issue that should be no parking, I think personally, maybe you guys don't, is Kerwood and East Shore. That corner, as you come
It
around,
is a tight corner.
that's not only a tight corner, there's school buses in the morning, and sometimes somebody will park there and there's trucks coming through, or they'll park like big trucks, not all the time, but it just makes it safer, I think, for that corner. I don't know, any thoughts, ideas? Just to Kerwood, how it transitions, it's really coming around within maybe 20 or 10 feet of this curb, or that court, and then just right here is the blind spot area. Sometimes there's kids playing out here by the driveway, and it's hard to see as you're coming around. And if the car's there, you won't see the kids. So that's something, I know not everyone's paying 100% attention. Just
Well, I would definitely want the input of the residents. I
Yeah.
don't know, how regular they use that for their own stuff. If it was just someone parking there to, visit once every 6 months, I'm not as concerned. But like, if it's someone who has like, let's say they have a 2-car garage, but own a 3rd car, and they need
Right.
someplace to put it.
It's just something I've
You
noticed.
have to drive around at 7 PM when everybody's home and see how they utilize the streets. During the daytime is not really a
No,
good tell.
it's usually morning and school bus times is when I've actually noticed. But I'm just mentioning it because, like I said, I've noticed it over the years of being a little,
But the fix is problematic because it affects people who bought that house with on-street parking. And, maybe they have 2 children and one of them's now driving and they're putting their car out on the street. And they want it in front of their house, not down the street. Yeah, so
But-
it's
you said
it's a
15.
difficult fix.
But you said we could put a no parking of 15 feet by a stop sign. So even if we had 15 feet either way of that court, that's just enough. And it helps people turn right out of the court as well.
That's not a stop sign, that's,
Well, in the court,
the court's the stop sign. That's, you approach, on the approach of a stop sign, not perpendicular to the stop sign.
right, but
I think
this
he
is
means
the-
if here's the stop sign, it's
Right, right, right.
this, not this
Okay.
direction.
But I'm just saying, this would help the residents and people traveling. Don't we want to make it easy for people to?
That'd be debatable to the owners of the properties who have.
They would still have plenty of parking. It's not, even if you look at the map here.
I
the
tend
house.
to think that presence of cars actually slow people down.
I do too, but not on a corner.
Well,
Well, on a corner especially, but
That one's hard. That one, like, I drive through there all the time, and for the last 2 weeks, they've been replacing the roof and siding on that house,
Yeah.
on that corner right there by North Lake Court. And, when you get 4 or 5 vehicles parked legally,
Yeah.
right there in front of the home, and you have to come around, it is a difficult turn. It's a similar situation that we've been dealing with since I started here with Minerva Lake Road, just past Kerwood. So that you have that curve right there as you're heading eastbound. When there are 2 or 3 cars parked there and you come up to that curve, you can't see down the road to see if it's clear to pass the parked cars.
I mean, unless it's breaking other traffic laws or, impeding traffic severely on a regular basis, I'm very hesitant to want to, take away or otherwise restrict the, street side parking of residents that have, that they've come to expect for, I mean, I don't know when the last houses were sold, but, potentially decades. I don't want to take that from them.
moving right along.
What?
Said moving right along.
So the last topic is still pretty well up in the air due to potential actions by the state legislature, but as everyone knows, State Issue 2 passed last November, which legalizes the recreational adult use of marijuana for those over the age of 21. And, you know, before things get going with it, I would just kind of like to, you know, I guess pick some brains to see what we're all thinking.
Doesn't our current code say no? Because the effect for us would be that they could be allowed to grow it,
That's what
right?
I was getting to. And
So doesn't
HB 86,
our code currently say that you can't grow marijuana? Because my understanding is if the local municipality has outlawed it, that it can override issue 2.
Yes, that is what I understand. However, we also have HB 86, which is working its way through the state legislature, which in its current form, in conjunction with the Senate bill, would completely remove the right of home grow. And again, you know, I don't have the space to grow if I wanted to. This means nothing to me personally, but I just want to know where, you know, I just want to know where we're at. If we would remove the prohibition on home grow, if we would keep it, I just want to get a poll of how we're feeling.
I think that the Village of Minerva Park law should reflect that of the state, period.
I'm sorry?
Whatever Ohio state laws are, we need to respect those laws, not only for, say, medical marijuana users, but laws that are coming into place. And if that means you're allowed to grow, if that passes, then Minerva Park, let it. Because some people are gonna have medical licenses, and just in case people don't know this, they did pass that if you're a caregiver, you can go on any city school property in the whole state of Ohio, and you can administrate your child whatever that product that contains THC to your child on school grounds.
I
We need to
can't
be able
speak to that. What I'm more focused on at this point is,
My point is, if you have people coming into Minerva Park, you know what I mean, they have licenses and stuff like that, let
Yeah,
them.
this has nothing to do with that
For
part.
growing,
This is all
then
about
yes.
growth.
Okay, then yeah.
so when
Yeah.
to refer to your statement of respecting the will of, you know, the voters, according to the Franklin County Board of Election, issue 2 passed Minerva Park by a vote of 705 to 308, or 69.59 to 30.41. So about 40% margin in favor. So that is what the attitude is as of right now. So I just wanted to bring that up to say, you know, if the Ohio legislature decides to allow municipalities, you know, the ability to restrict or exclude, I would say that anyone's personal viewpoints aside, we should tread very carefully on doing so. And the summarization of issue 2 also, you know, preserves, you know, you can't use it when driving or in a car. And, you know, private, like if you are owning a rental property, you're allowed to prohibit it from being used in a rented facility as well. I just wanted to bring up those numbers and make sure that we're all, you know, aware that the attitude in Minerva Park as of last month was pretty green, so to speak. So, my question from like a legal standpoint is, does this really affect you guys? I mean, I guess we probably have to figure out, you know, where the law is going to settle through the State House, but like, do you foresee any changes to policy for, I don't know, like an odor being probable cause, if that's utilized, or what have you?
An odor of what?
An odor
An odor of a legal substance being probable cause?
Yes, well, not legal anymore, not a legal substance anymore.
I said legal.
Oh, well, good enough then.
So you're saying an odor of a legal substance?
Yes,
You answered your own question in your question.
good enough.
So, no, we, back in 2021, when they legalized hemp, we effectively had no probable cause for odor of marijuana.
Oh, you just reminded me of that. I'm sorry about the duplicate question.
So we've already been down this road for a long time.
Oh, I remember that now that you mentioned
Right
it.
now, our issue is training our dog off of marijuana. which can be done. You gotta train the dog not to react to marijuana.
I have a question.
Okay.
What would be the benefit of the Village of Mineral Park went against the state rules that may come into play?
Like not having a fireworks location in our neighborhood.
Yeah, something like that.
That would be
It's the
one.
exact same scenario.
Yeah, we adopted the state's ruling on fireworks as opposed
Which
to
allows-
Westerville and Columbus that didn't, which has brought us to the issue of the fireworks store in our neighborhood.
And again, I prefer to
Whereas-
keep those discussions to zoning as where it currently sits right now, but
So,
Yeah.
home
But the
grow.
question is it the
Uh,
same scenario?
Yeah.
What's to prevent someone from just
Doing it anyways.
fencing in their backyard and turning the entire thing into a farm?
Do the state law, you're allowed to only have whatever, what was it?
six
There you
per
go.
person, 12 per household.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean,
Again, I have no personal stake in this, I just wanna know what people are feeling.
I think,
No.
no?
No, I'm saying,
Oh.
he says I don't have any personal stake, I'm
Oh.
like, yeah, I'm not gonna be growing in my own either. I
I
can't keep an alive plant alive, do you think I'm gonna try that? No.
think,
I'm a reasonably decent gardener, I probably could, but
No, I'm not.
I don't know.
I honestly think no one cares.
I mean, yeah, the results of
you-
the election, of the.
There might be a
In
couple of
fairness, he
people.
has a valid point, I never even thought about that, I thought that this was gonna be a totally different topic, so. You're gonna have the people that are completely against it, you're always going to have somebody that says, my neighbor's doing this, my neighbor's doing this, they'll be out there counting how many plants. You will have that
That would be
person.
their right to do so, but
Correct.
I do not believe that we have.
But the majority-
mandate to do so.
Right.
To restrict them otherwise.
No, yeah.
I think it would just cause confusion to go against the state and then make up our own random rules because we want. That doesn't, I don't know.
I'm more interested in finding out what's gonna happen when people go to like the federal courthouse with marijuana because
It's so federally illegal, yeah.
or they go to the national park, the national forest.
So the Cole memo from the Department of Justice from about 2012 or 13 was an Obama era memorandum where the Department of Justice decided not to unduly burden or otherwise harass states which had legalized marijuana, but he raised a very good question on the federal side of it. That will definitely, I suspect that somebody will unfortunately find out when they do that.
Because it's legal in Ohio. I can have it. You can't do it in Green. It's
never
well
thought
on
about
federal land.
Yeah, somebody will very likely find out
Well, I mean,
when that happens.
the good news is Michigan's done it, Colorado's done it,
Yeah,
a lot
I
of
mean-
states have done it, so I think it'll be easier for the Ohio legislation to kind of mimic some of those, and maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but.
Again, HB 86 was literally introduced, I believe, this morning. And I spoke with, I had a meeting with the state representative earlier today about the Minerva Lake funding resource. We're looking down different routes, and I asked her just in passing, and she didn't. She said, I'm not, they're gonna brief us tomorrow on it. So, again, it's all very fresh, very new. I just wanted to see what the, temperature was in here on.
Then I have no opinion on a bill that was introduced this morning.
Well, neither do I. I just wanted to, wondered, if anyone was thinking one way or another, if the, home grow stays in and,
I have a question. Chief, do you think your job would be easier if,
I don't think it will be affected at all.
okay, either way.
Yeah.
well, that's good to know.
Do you guys have any thoughts on this? No
mean-
one has an opinion?
I will say respect the will of the voters and allow the full implementation
Exactly.
as allowed by law. That is what our voters overwhelmingly by a 40% margin want.
Agreed.
If someone does not want to grow marijuana, if someone does not want
They don't have
to have an edible, if someone does not want to have a vape or a joint, they don't have to.
Agreed.
Right.
But,
It's just like, it's probably gonna be treated pretty much like alcohol.
I mean, yeah,
You don't want
absolutely.
it,
First of all, marijuana being illegal goes back to, well, that's a discussion for another day. But I just wanted to, see where everybody was sitting and feeling. The last thing I have is open discussion. Does anyone have anything they'd like to bring up, address, contribute? for the good of the order, so to speak.
What did we, I know I asked this the other day and I can't remember the answer. Is the flashing light sign in?
No.
Okay, that's on back order.
It
That was
is,
my understanding.
I have talked to him multiple times, and it was supposed to take 4 to 6 weeks,
It's
3
been
months ago.
longer than that.
Okay.
And I don't have an answer as to
The
why.
flock cameras are in. Have we looked any further at the camera at the shelter, the pavilion?
So we are talking to people about cameras in here right now, so that's gonna be a topic that we're gonna try to add on. But other than that, have you talked to Flock about anything?
Because I thought we talked about flock having
So,
a
Fox
possible.
will provide a PTZ camera.
That was a beautiful little thing you showed us.
I mean, just how much we're gonna spend.
Can we figure out how much it is? Yeah.
Thought I did that, but yeah, I can do that.
You might have. I don't remember. That'd be good. Because that would connect into the cars, the cruisers.
Yeah.
Right.
I find the flock system very
Right,
useful.
which I think would be ideal. I can't find the thing about marijuana in our code, because I think they spell it wrong in the code, don't they? Isn't it spelled wrong?
If it's really old, they
I
just spell
don't
with an
know.
H.
I'm pretty sure it's spelled wrong, because I've heard other residents talk about how we spelled it in the code.
If we spelled it with the
Juana?
1930s
What?
term,
HUANA.
yeah, the old 1930s and 40s term back in the first wave of prohibitions. On it, we spelled it MARIHUANA or something like that.
Mr. McNamara, I have to say, you are very well educated in marijuana.
Well, I did a lot of homework on this. In the light of issue 2.
Much appreciated.
Believe me, this is new knowledge for me. I just,
Okay. I know it's in.
Any Facebook posts you guys want to talk about? Oh no, I'm just, that's
sorry.
usually where we get our safety comments from.
if there's not, I believe we're good then. Going once, going twice, move to adjourn.
Adjourn second.
All right.